Here's how to upgrade or replace your Honda Civic steering wheel in any 11th gen Civic. I'll be doing this on my 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid. The stock steering wheel is relatively simple and I was looking for something a little bit better. I found this wheel from Carismo Designs that I thought was perfect for my car, and I thought it was the perfect wheel for not being too over the top while looking like an OEM plus wheel. Obviously for this guide, you're gonna need your steering wheel that you're gonna be upgrading to, and then you're gonna need a braking bar so that we can get the actual steering wheel bolt loose. It's gonna be using a 10mm hex in, a torque wrench so that we can get the steering wheel bolt back on, a flathead screwdriver so that we can pick at the pins to loosen the steering wheel, a 10mm wrench so that you can undo the battery, a Phillips head screwdriver, but in this case I just have my drill, and then any sort of tape so that you can mark where your steering wheel was. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and take your 10mm wrench. You're going to be taking off the battery terminals under the hood so that whenever we get into the airbag down here, you don't pop it and it blows up in your face. As you can see, I used my 10mm and I went ahead and disconnected the ground and the positive. Now that we got the battery disconnected, the next thing we're going to be doing is taking out the airbag first. You'll notice on the side of the steering wheel, there are 3 holes, one right here, one right on the bottom, and one on the opposite side of this. You're gonna take your flathead screwdriver, kind of mush into there and until you feel a release on each side, and you'll see the airbag will start to pop out, but not in a bad way. There we go. You can see the airbag started to come loose. I already did the left side and there's the bottom. Okay. I thought I got the left side, but I just did for sure. So now that the airbag has literally popped out, but thankfully not blown up in my face, you can go ahead and grab it. And there will be 3 wires on the underside that you're gonna disconnect. There's 1 at the top and 2 in the middle. And just for a visual, you can see the wire at the top and then the 2 in the middle. The 2 in the middle have 2 white pins on the side that you push and pull up on. This one has 1 single black pin that you push and pull on. There's 1, holy fuck, and 2. All right, here's our airbag. We're gonna save this for later. Be careful with it. And here's what the steering wheel looks like without the airbag. You can see our bolt right here that we're gonna be unscrewing. Here's the clock spring harness. Go ahead and disconnect that. And now I'm gonna be using this brake bar that I showed you guys earlier in order to loosen the bolt in the middle. Oh, there we go. Holy shit. I'd highly recommend having a second pair of hands, but I was able to do it on my own. Just make sure you have a 1/2 inch and not a 3/8 because holy moly, I can't imagine if I didn't have such a big brake bar. So I went ahead and got that bolt removed. The next thing you're gonna do is go ahead and tap the sides of your steering wheel and you should be able to lightly take it off. Kind of feed the wires through so that you don't tug on anything. And here is our old steering wheel. So here I am with the old steering wheel. What you're gonna do next is remove these 3 screws. 1, 2, 3, that one's a ground, and then those 2 hold the actual trim / chassis onto the metal part right here. We're gonna be transferring all of these controls and everything to our new wheel. As you can see, I got those 3 screws removed, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull from the bottom to remove the plastic trim, and then from the top in order to get the whole unit out. Well, there's the middle. Okay, there's the top. Also, at this point, you can go ahead and remove the 2 wires for the controls. 1, 2. And then go ahead and take out the bottom unit. There we go. There's the bottom piece. At this point, we still need to get the back shroud. And if you're anything like my car, you have paddles on the back. So on each paddle, you'll see the screws here. Go ahead and remove those. As you can see, I took out those 2 screws. And now at this point, you can go ahead and just tug on the back shroud and it'll pop off. There we go. There's the back shroud with all the controls. On the back, you'll see 3 springs back here. 1, 2, 3. Those are what we loosened in order to get the wheel off in the first place, and we need to transfer that over to our new unit. It's a relatively simple swap. All you do is take your flathead screwdriver, get right under this end, and get it over that triangle edge that you see right there, and it comes right off. Okay, there's 1 and went flying. Now I'm gonna stop recording so I can do it with 2 hands and not have it go flying for all 3, but you would just do the same thing on the other 2. And that's it as far as this wheel goes. You can go ahead and sell it on eBay or just hold it unless you wanna replace it in the future. So I got this wheel from Carismo that I'm gonna be putting on. You're gonna be starting off by putting on the springs that we just took off. There we go, there's 1, and then do the same exact thing for the other 2. So with those clips back in place, we're gonna go ahead and put the back shroud back on. I have these extra wires that were for a heated steering wheel variant of this car. Unfortunately, that isn't in the US, so I'm gonna go ahead and just tuck these around. They're not relevant for me. If your car comes with this and it supports heated steering wheel, you would have to wire your own steering wheel controls for the heated steering. So I got the back shroud all lined up. You can see there's 2 pins up here, and then I'm pretty sure there's another set on both sides. Just go ahead and push the chassis back in, and then you'll be ready to put on the front. front. So now that we got the back in, it's time to put everything else from the front back on. We're gonna start by the bottom and then we're gonna make our way up. As you can see, I started making my way on the bottom. There are two little connectors at the top next to these screw holes that you're gonna wanna make sure line up with these two holes accordingly. And same thing down here for the bottom trim, 1, 2. And with the bottom one, you're now gonna do that middle piece that I was talking about. Make sure you put each screw in for the paddles. You do not wanna miss that. I would recommend plugging in the actual controls on each side first via these white cables, and then you can go ahead and seat everything in. So here we are, I got both my paddles screwed back in, and then I'm now gonna proceed just like how I was showing you guys, plugging in these white first, and then I'm gonna go ahead, get ready for everything to line up and clip in. Everything's now clipped back in and we're ready to put the screws back on. You can see I got the 3 screws back in place and we're ready to mount it back onto the car. From here, everything is pretty self-explanatory. Go ahead and route these 2 cables back through the top and we're gonna connect our airbag. Obviously try to mount it as straight as you can. If you're unable to do so, you can go ahead and get in alignment. All right, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and connect our clock spring back. Now the steering wheel is all ready for the bolt to be put back in place, and then we'll be good to put the airbag back on. There we go. You can hear from the clicking, that was enough of my freaking torque thing. I had it set at 36. That's the kind of general guideline for the torque you need for the bolt on the steering wheels of the 11th gen Civics. And now we're ready to connect our airbag. So very simple, you just go ahead for the black one, it goes on top right there. And then of course your left and right are color coded accordingly. So now all that's left is to go ahead and put the actual airbag back in. And there you have it. All that's left is go ahead and hook up your battery terminals again. I honestly love the steering wheel and I'm very glad with how it came out, and I absolutely love the way it feels. It's a very nice upgrade over the stock wheel and it doesn't come off as too over the top or anything. So that's it, you guys. That's how you replace or upgrade your steering wheel on any 11th gen Honda Civic. I'll have this wheel from Carismo Designs that I used linked down below in the video if you want to check that out. They also have a bunch of other wheels if you're looking for something more aggressive. They have a ton of variety in terms of what wheels they have to offer. If you like this guide, like or subscribe and let me know down in the comments what you think of this 2025 Honda Civic upgrade that I added to my car. I have a bunch of other Honda Civic content from different range tests, modifications, and reviews. If you want to look at that, check out my other videos on my channel. Thank you all for watching. Have a good one.